Public Improvement Commission hearing of January 17th, 2019. Our first item is an approval and review of the hearing minutes. Upon request by the Public Improvement Commission staff, the acceptance of the minutes of the PIC hearing held on December 20th, 2018. Any questions or comments related to the minutes? All right, hearing none, entertain a motion on this item.
Make a motion to approve the minutes. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Moving on to our first item of new business of 2019, Wolcott Square, Wolcott Street, Wolcott Court, Hyde Park Avenue, and Hyde Park. Specific repairs on a set of petitions by the City of Boston Transportation Department.
Good morning, board members. Thank you for having us. Bill Conroy from the Boston Transportation Department. With me is Rich Lente from the Lentini from Howard Stein Hudson, and Zach Osworth from Public Works Department. Before you today is a project that the City of Boston's undertaking out in Wolcott Square, section of Hyde Park. Back in 2017, April 2017, Mayor Walsh announced improvements out to this area for pedestrians, both pedestrians, vehicular traffic, ADA. And with that, the proposal before you is to signalize the Milton Street, Neponset Valley Parkway, Hyde Park Ave, as well as Milton Street, and we actually took the project as far as Wolcott Square to relocate a bus stop down in Wolcott Square, as well as improve signalization and bus improvements down in Wolcott Square. Albeit this area, a lot of it's owned by DCR, but the city felt as though for safety purposes that this needed to be undertaken. We have the cooperation of Commissioner Roy at DCR. We have a construction access permit. We also will have, hopefully by the end of the week, an MOU for the signals. All signals will be owned and operated by the City of Boston in this area, and all the signals will be connected to interconnect cable, which will run all the way back to the City of Boston. So with that, that's just a snapshot. I'll turn over to Rich.
Morning, Rick Latini with Howard Stein Hudson. So right here I have just the aerial of how this is all connected. So we're here mostly for this intersection because the city owns this portion of Hyde Park Avenue. You also own the Wolcott Square. The rest of this is DCR, and the bridge obviously is Mass DOT. So this is mostly a traffic signalization optimization program, as Bill was saying. We also are milling and overlaying this whole section and reconstructing the sidewalks and obviously bringing the curb ramps up to code. So this intersection here is across from, this is the Milton Street Bridge, so this is Hyde Park Ave. So this is DCR over here. The only thing that we're here to ask for permission from PIC from is we are tightening up this radius here, which is about 75 feet now, so we're making it 50. We're also moving the bus shelter here to the far side of the intersection to improve traffic flow. So to do that, we're actually widening the sidewalk from 6.5 feet to about 9 feet to provide at least 4 feet in front of the bus shelter. We are reconstructing this sidewalk in asphalt, which it is today, and this side will be cement and concrete. So any questions on this particular intersection before we walk on Square?
Is the east side currently asphalt and we're switching into concrete, or is it currently concrete? The
No,
east side.
I think both might be asphalt. Yeah. This one definitely is.
Okay. They're both asphalt today, and we're switching one.
Moving on to Wolcott Square. Once again, DCR owns this swath right here, so we're here because we are actually going to reconstruct it. It's kind of a narrow island. There's actually these crosswalks exist today, but there's planters in here and there's no curb ramp, so we're actually going to make this a triangular island. So when you come in here, the turn lane's a little more obvious. It's like a big swath of pavement today. Obviously, put accessible ramps here. Also over here, the bus shelter is right here on Wolcott Square, so we're moving it off of the main traffic onto Wolcott Square over here. So to get more room for the shelter, again, we're increasing this sidewalk, almost doubling it. I think it's going from 8 to 16 feet. So it's those two things are the ones where we're actually changing the curve line. And once again, we're reconstructing the ped ramps. This particular crosswalk goes into a driveway today, so we're fixing that too. So, any questions on this? So lastly, those concrete street lights with the LED light we're replacing with the Or not until pending plans.
And that's consistent with the request.
Yeah, the double acorn lights, they have some existing in the square, we're just doing that for consistency. We'll fix it.
Chief, I just want to acknowledge the very hard work done by Mr. Conroy and your team for this wonderful project. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for Public Works for joining us. The effort here with Zach and yourself is really great. And thank you to DCR as well, who's not present in the room, but it's a good project for all. Thank you.
Other questions, comments? All right, 2 weeks enough time?
Yep.
See you on the 31st.
Thank you.
Our next item of new business is 40 Trinity Place, Stewart Street, Boston proper, vertical discontinuances and specific repairs on a set of petitions by Trinity Stewart LLC and the Boston Planning and Development Agency.
Good morning. My name's Joe Sheridan from Goulston & Stores. I'm here on behalf of Trinity Place with Rick Latini from Howard Stein Hudson, the engineer for the project. Before Rick gives some, more technical information on the specific repairs and the discontinuances, I thought I'd just give you sort of an overview of the project. It's at 40 Trinity Place in Boston, and as you can see on this plan, the project is located in that orange area, and it's bordered by Stewart Street to the north, Trinity Place to the west. There's a parking garage to the south, and then the University Club is to the east. And the project has received, it's gone through and completed Article 80 large project review, and has received design approval from BCDC and the BPDA, and it will consist of the demolition of the existing building, and then the construction of a new building that will have hotel, residential, and restaurant uses. And so as part of this, we'll be looking to make some improvements along the street, and we're looking for discontinuances to allow certain canopy and other architectural elements for the project.
Amy, the pre-ownership part of the discontinued area underlying fee is
Mixed.
not ours.
Mixed.
Mixed.
Little of
Okay,
everything.
okay. And it is being managed, that is consistent with our policies, etc.
At the public hearing, the discontinuances will be split into 2 separate actions.
So
One
it's
will be
the meeting or,
hotel.
thank you, sir.
I'll go to the discontinuances first and just stop me whenever you want me to explain something. This is the plan you have in front of you now. I'm actually going to switch to what we gave the BPDA so they can visualize it better. The discontinuances are for I call them fins that come down the building. And there's several of them, but there's 2 that go over the public way, so we're here for that. And also there's a multi-level canopy that goes over the public way. And these things are not only aesthetic, but they also are there to deter wind acceleration down the face of the high-rise building. We also have a wind mitigation plan as part of the specific repair too, which helps mitigate even problems that you have with the Hancock Tower across the street. So the vertical discontinuances are D and E on your plans, are both for those fins. I believe vertical discontinuance D stops on the canopy, so that one ends like 20 feet up in the air or whatnot. And the other vertical discontinuance comes all the way down to the ground level. It extends about 2 foot 9 inches into the public way, but as you'll see, that's just for specific repair. We're increasing sidewalk with almost 16 feet in that area. Also on your discontinuance plan, you'll see the canopy extends over today's curb line.
Yeah. That's. So we all know the challenges about discontinuing areas that are above the curb line. So can you give us some guidance as to how the architects thought of it, knowing to some extent how that is not highly decided on our part?
You want to describe that, Gary?
Because we, the city, need to retain our abilities to manage that space for the next. How are you, sir?
How are you today? Gary Kane with the architectural team. So if I could understand the question.
Okay, the cross-section, see Charlie, cross-section where your discontinuances are spreading over the sidewalk. So
Yes.
can you amplify why and...
Okay, so as Rick was just starting to suggest, or just starting to explain, the current extension goes beyond the curb line where it presently exists. We're extending the curb line out, so it will not extend out, it will not extend beyond the curb line. And so there'll be a new curb line. The reason for the large extension, as Rick was mentioning, has to do with our wind mitigation the models that we had done early on in the building in terms of trying to reduce the velocity of wind at the street level, at the sidewalk level, wind that's being basically redirected off the John Hancock Tower to our tower and then driving down towards the street. So the model has always included this canopy that would span pretty much around the building, around all the main entrances in the front side of the building. That's the genesis or the main reasons for the canopy. The height of the canopies and the extensions are all above, there's the building code requirements of above 15 feet, the 1/3, 2/3 rule, the nothing below 8 feet, then sloping up at a 1-to-1 slope. So we've met all of those. We've met with both the building department and the fire department and reviewed the sections just in terms of how it's being constructed, how we're directing all water positively back to drainage inside the building, nothing dripping out over the front edges. So there's a little bit more than. Did I answer your question?
No. Yes, you did, but let me give my first editorial comment for this calendar year. We recognize the fact that I recognize the fact that you all recognize that there are wind mitigation needs for building anything in our downtown area because of the proximity of all buildings. That's a given, right? It's not something new. So I'm just having a little bit of a concern about architects who are designing projects and not crazy about you tagging the BBDA as if they are forcing you to deal with wind mitigation. Okay? I think as urban designers, we need to recognize that wind mitigation is something you should fold into your original design. Intrusion into the public space to manage that situation is not going to be something that we will readily agree to on an ongoing basis. So my strong desire is, yes, we recognize you need to manage wind. It's a known condition. In a highly urbanized, fully built up scenario where the property lines come right up to the curb, up to the property line. Okay? So keep that in the back of your mind. So basically what you're doing, Rick, is you're pushing the sidewalk further.
Correct.
Stewart is going out further, is that right?
Yes.
And that has been agreed to by all parties because you are taking a leap in faith that we are going to agree to the movement of the curbs.
Yeah, I need your approval, correct. But everyone else,
It's
we've
the
done.
next action.
I know.
Yeah.
So it has been agreed by all parties
Right. Yeah, yes, you should not vote yes for this and no this.
until you do the other one.
Yeah. Sorry, put you on the spot there. So this same canopy, I'll just switch to this, by the way, this is all city-owned and fee on Stewart Street. The mix is on Trinity Place where this canopy wraps around. We actually own, oddly enough, the area in easement near Stewart Street. You own a small piece back here in fee. So this sticks out about 4 feet on like a 7.5-foot wide sidewalk. It has about 15 feet clear, and as Gary mentioned, it's all internally drained to the building. It will be heat traced. So, any more questions? Please just continue for.
Mr. Latini?
Yes.
In addition to the structures which you mentioned there, will there be any outdoor advertising signs, whether it is digital or any of those that are going to be integrated into the building facade? Sir, if you could.
The present application before you has no signage. The signage will evolve. There's a new hotel brand involved. There's a branding process. There is no plan right now for any kind of electronic or digital signage, but there'll be some lighting. So right now this application has no signage in front.
So help me to understand. Once we discontinue the area, basically the rights are yours and not the city's. So at which point I'm going to assume the city's buildings department and the planning agency, including the transportation department, should be engaged in allowing that type of outdoor advertising within the public right-of-way, which was discontinued. Okay?
That's fine. And at the present time, where they've been discussing the signage is all very understated, and it's not within these public takings. So I don't see it as a problem at this point.
Rick, can you walk us through the specific repairs?
Yep, absolutely. So, as we were discussing, we need to widen the sidewalk. For many reasons, but the canopy would be one of them. We're widening, the sidewalk today is about 10.5 feet wide, so we're widening it to 16.5 feet near our property, and about 12.5 feet down near Clarendon Street. We're widening a little bit more because there's a dedicated right turn lane. We also have this bump out, so we put perpendicular ramps. It also lines up with the through lane coming from going east. So there's a right turn lane here. So in other words, we're not jogging traffic to get through this intersection. So in the furnishing zone, we are actually proposing a couple of street trees. They're going to be pin oaks or some other tree that maintains most of the leaves during the winter, once again for the wind mitigation. There's 3 wind screens there that you see. They're basically steel framed. There'll be like a tempered glass. There'll be some type of pattern on it that we'll have to coordinate with the EPA. The front of zone 2 will have about 4-foot width of permeable pavers, not including the curb. Behind that, we have an 8-foot wide cement concrete sidewalk. And behind that, we have granite pavers that are 3 feet within the current public way, but most of them are on the city property. Sorry. And for Trinity Place, we have the same concept, except the permeable pavers range from like 6 inches to 4 feet because the sidewalks are like 7 feet, so we have like a 5-foot cement concrete sidewalk. The granite pavers are not in the public way out there. We also have a 22-foot wide driveway. This is one way this way. It's for drop-off and valet service only. And that'll actually have pavers too, but we're trying to discourage pedestrians from going further down here, because if you know this area, this is an on-ramp onto the I-90, so there's no ways to walk to down there. I think, I forgot to mention with the trees too, they're going to have the structural soil underneath to be irrigated, so, but obviously we're maintaining all this.
Rick, is this area within the Back Bay Architectural Commission or any of the designated landmarks area? So can you let us know the answer? Check on that. And let's start.
Didn't write it down. I'll see if I got something back from Todd on that one. Todd Savage, that is.
Questions or comments on the specific repair plan or the discontinuance?
So I share Power's concern relative to the neck down, basically bumping out the sidewalk. Obviously, from Trek, you made a statement that it does not, it lines up. We have 3 lanes in a 2. That doesn't line up with that neck down. We have a parking lane on the right-hand side and 3 travel lanes into 2 lanes. One of the issues is Boston Marathon. This is a major detour route for the marathon that we basically put additional lanes in to handle that traffic flow. Any events on Boylston Street, any parade, this is the major detour route, is Stewart Street. So I'm looking at any reduction in capacity in this area for those major events is a concern of the department. Additionally, I think Power may share my concern relative to snow removal, to get to the curbs. This creates a lane imbalance and some issues for that purpose, so those are concerns.
Okay, well, I'd say normally people use that right lane to take a right turn, you would think. And the TAPA is already approved, so we'll have to revisit that too then if there's a problem. So, because that's the way it's signed too, is for a right turn in the future.
It's been approved here. Right?
I believe it's executed already, but whatever, we'll talk
That's
after this.
TAPA,
We'll
that's
talk,
okay.
we'll talk between the.
The geometric changes basically approved through this.
No, correct.
Mr. Boosa.
Guy Busa, Howard Sign Hudson. Thank you, Ed. And so the 40 Trinity TAPA was executed on the 22nd of December in 2017. And right now in front of you, at BTD, you have a conceptual design and preliminary plan for this. It was submitted, I think, just before Christmas. It's in your shop for review. We expect comments back from that shortly. On the west side of the site is the parking garage and the Boston property site. So in the TAPA, what you would see is a condition with and without the Boston Properties improvements on the west side of Trinity Place. So they are going to also be narrowing Stewart Street in this.
We don't know
particular- Well, that was their plan as part of their Article 80
There's a lot of
process.
discussion that was going on, specifically with Mass DOT, transportation, and
Yeah.
some of the alignments that were going on there.
So on the lane imbalance, we're coming through with two through lanes and a right turn lane. As today, there is a right turn lane that goes to the parking garage drum down into Trinity Place. So there are two through lanes that come through from Dartmouth Street, and then continue. Actually, they continue all the way down to Arlington Street, with a right turn lane that picks up just before Clarendon Street.
But as we know, that there's basically, the lane designation doesn't work that way right now.
Yes, in its present form, correct?
That's correct.
Right.
3, for the public hearing. For the public hearing, please do bring some isometric pictures of what your project is. Right now you are showing a series of, okay, so, no.
I guess actually I have one right here.
All right, but for tape and all of that stuff, so that way the commission members can get a sense of some of the subtle dynamics in relationship to the volume of mass that is being created over here. The equation is just not two-dimensional on a plan sheet.
If you do have one right now, Rick, can you just?
Just bring the whole section. Yeah.
Probably should have left my discontinued to that one, but it didn't. So that's kind of what that's what the corner looks like. It's
Trinity Place here.
That's the main street, you know, that's Stewart Street at that corner. Again, sir, I defer to your expertise as an architect, but within the urban design fabric of how Stewart Street needs to function.
Yes.
Okay, with the curb line moving out and with this protruding within that site.
Sure.
You know,
Something showing both the building and the curb
so
lines.
we can have a conversation in the context of what's being discussed.
Sure, okay. All right, these are just the sections showing the geometry of the setbacks, but we'll, for the hearing, we'll make sure that we have a
Please.
three-dimensional of the building.
Thank you,
and
sir.
the curb lines.
Other questions or comments on this? In your time. Members of the public. All right. See you guys in 2 weeks.
yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item is 1 Dalton Street, Belvedere Street, St. Germain Street, Clearway Street, and Roxbury. Specific repairs, projection license on a set of petitions by 1 Dalton Owner LLC.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, good morning. My name is Chris Ani with Niche Engineering. I'm here with Susan Kincaid with Wilmer Hale and Jocelyn Stewart of Cambridge 7 Associates. We're here for the 1 Dalton project. We had some PIC plans recently approved in December for discontinuance. We've also had essentially these plans approved back in 2014. So we're back for some revisions to it. The design has evolved a bit over the last 4.5 years or so. So we're here for some changes. And I'm going to turn it over to Jocelyn to discuss those.
Excuse me, sir. This is the Four Seasons project, right?
Yes.
That's correct. My name is Jocelyn Stewart again with Cambridge 7 Associates. We'd like to discuss 3 items essentially. One is that we modified the curve of St. Germain Street and Dalton Street for better turning radius for fire trucks and large trucks such as 18-wheelers. Independent of this, we increased the size of the sidewalk on Dalton Street on the 1 Dalton side for better pedestrian access. And number 3, we refined the canopy extents, basically. The wind canopy extents. And these wind canopies were required by the BRA back when we started this. So, but we did this for better wind mitigation. So, Just to illustrate.
Sorry, sir, please.
It's all right. Just to illustrate on the on this plan here, the adjustment to the Saint Germain Dalton Street corner is right here, and as you know, the firehouse is essentially at the end of Dalton Street, so it allows for better direct and less constricted access to Saint Germain Street.
What was the radius before? What is it now? Can you just walk us through the specifics of that change?
Yes, here, I've got a better diagram here. This is sort of an illustration of what was there and what we're doing here. So this went from about a 20-foot radius, a 30-foot radius to a 20-foot radius right here. You'll see the difference between that edge here and this edge here in red. So that, I think, is essentially the major adjustment that was made. With regard to, I guess I can show this for that sidewalk extension as well. So with this projecting vestibule as well as the auto drop-off, we thought it best to widen the sidewalk along there for better pedestrian access, better drop-off use, better access to the hotel vestibule, the main entrance of the hotel, under the canopy as well. And then with regard to the canopy, as you know, the BRA back when we began this project many years ago required that we have wind mitigation canopies, and they surround the site where we have pedestrian activity. So what we've done as we further analyzed the wind conditions is we extended a canopy over the residential drop-off here, and we extended the length of these, or the extension of these, along Belvedere Street and at the corner here of Belvedere and Dalton Street. And to give you a sense of what that looks like, we've got a rendering here that shows this is the Belvedere and Dalton Streets right here. This is one of the side entrances to the hotel, as well as the Zuma restaurant. So if you have any questions, either I or Chris can go into greater detail.
I realize that much of this was approved in 2014. Do you expect another set or any other things to come before the PSC? Do you think this is okay?
No.
Or hold to that, but I
Yeah, but you never know, but no.
The building has been topped up, right?
It has. Yes.
So these wind mitigation elements, have they been affixed to the building, or?
Yes, just the outriggers at this point.
We will approve this then, otherwise you'll have to take them down.
Well, we can always adjust if required. They're not finalized.
That's good to know.
Other questions or comments on these three? Amir, Todd? Members of the public? All right, so you guys,
It's an annual license, right?
Yes, the projection.
Yeah, the projection license is an annual. The fees go to Anne McNeil, or no? Where?
Yes.
Or trying to raise those pennies I need for the.
Yep.
all right. See you guys in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our next item is 21 Soldiers Field Place in Brighton, specific repairs, earth retention license on a set of petitions by Dinosaur 1550 LLC.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the Commission. Nick Zazula, McDermott, Quilty, and Miller. With me to my far left is Deborah Danick from Niche Engineering. To my immediate left is Mark Dufton from the project developer. We've got folks from Howard Stein Hudson and Copley Wolf Design Group here as well to help answer any questions. A little bit of background: this site is located on the northern riverfront edge of the Brighton neighborhood. It's along Soldiers Field Road near the intersection with Leo M. and Birmingham Parkway. It's just north of the Pike. Important to note, and Deb will go in more detail, that Soldiers Field Road is a DCR road. So we're here strictly with regards to Soldiers Field Place, which wraps around to the rear of the project site. The overall combined project site is 1.65 total acres. It includes 2 sites. Principal project site is a little over 1 acre. It's 1550 Soldiers Field Road, a smaller, little over a half-acre parcel to the rear at 21 Soldiers Field Place. The larger parcel along Soldiers Field Road currently contains an obsolete and vacant 2-story office building. Soldiers Field Place, that property is currently utilized for surface parking to support the office building. That existing building will be demolished for this project. As far as the project specifics, it is 2 buildings, as you can see from the rendering up there now. The larger H-shaped building along Soldiers Field Road is 211 market rate apartment units, and the smaller building at 21 Soldiers Field Place will contain 38 income-restricted homeownership units. So we have 2 buildings, but with the combined floor area of about 223,000 square feet, containing 176 on-site parking spaces between the 2 sites. 149 spaces will be in an underground parking garage for the bigger building to service the apartment building, and 27 ground floor garage spaces will be there to service the condominiums at 21 Soldiers Field Place. However, all access to these garages will be along Soldiers Field Place. There will be no access directly from Soldiers Field Road. While the proposed project consists of 2 separate buildings, they are situated on their own parcels of land. They have been master planned and designed together with certain features and access improvements, open spaces, related public realm improvements. So although it is 2 separate parcels, it has been looked at holistically by the team and by the city prior to today as one development. Finally, I will just note this is a large project. It's 223,000 square feet, so there's been a lot of review to date. BCDC approval in May of last year, BPDA approval, Article 80 large project review also in May of last year, ZBA approval in July, Parks approval in August, and in support of this entire process, we obviously had a robust discussion with the community, kind of unique location here along Soldiers Field Road, but we did end up getting support from both of the 2 applicable community groups, the Allston Civic Association and the Brighton Allston Improvement Association. With that, I will stop talking on the background and get to the meat of the matter. I'll let Deb go over what we're specifically here for today in front of the commission.
Mr. Nick, if I may interrupt you, off Soldiers Field, Soldiers Field Place, that's a public street?
Yes.
Who are all the abutters? Are you the singular abutter of that whole street?
No, there are several.
Basically, what I'm trying to get a sense of, this is a large project. It's going to take some time, noise, construction, and who else is living down the street?
So Soldiers, and Mark can chime in as well, but Soldiers Field Place is actually dead ends at the end of the street. There's a few other office buildings. I think there's a senior, is there
no
a
residential
units
at all.
No condos or anything, no living units.
What's the
So it's all businesses. There's a senior daycare center.
That's, yeah.
There's another adult daycare. There's an air conditioning business. There's a radio station is down the end of the cul-de-sac. There's a electronics distributor. There's 7 buildings, and then the Acura dealership is on the right as you drive into Soldiers Field Place.
So no other residences, and adult daycare is a day. Yeah.
So, Mr.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. I'm Deborah Danik with Niche Engineering. To get a little more into the meat of what Nick was saying, we're here to request 2 petitions. One for a license for temporary earth support, and that's in order to construct the larger of the 2 buildings, the 1550 Soldiers Field Road, which is located on the north side of Soldiers Field Place. So there will be our building parking garage is half below grade, and it's pretty close to the property line. So we're requesting to install soldier piles and lagging in order to construct our building, and that would happen basically on the L-shaped portion of Soldiers Field Place, and then the building is actually set back from Soldiers Field Road, the DCR road, but and any approvals associated with that portion we're talking to them about. As quickly mentioned, it will be soldier pile and lagging. They'll go approximately 35 feet deep into the ground, And then, you know, after we no longer need them, they'll be cut off 6 feet below grade. The other request that we have for you is for specific repairs to Soldiers Field Place. I can show this plan that you have in front of you. But currently, both the north and south side of Soldiers Field Place sidewalks are cement concrete with granite curb. They're a little bit more than 7 feet wide. Existing on the site on the 1550 Soldiers Field Road site on the north side of Soldiers Field Place, there are 2 driveway entrances to the site, one on the left side of the L and one on the north side of Soldiers Field Place on the right, on the bottom side of the L. We're proposing to close both those driveway openings, and we're gonna propose 2 new ones, one for our loading dock location and the other for the entrance to the underground parking as mentioned. The other thing that we're proposing to do is to comply the sidewalk with the complete streets guidelines, and we're proposing to bump portions of the curb out. So if you look at the right side of the page, the east side of the page, in front of, that's where the loading dock driveway is located, and then kind of more to the left is the location of the driveway entrance to the parking garage. That location, we're proposing to leave the 7.5-foot wide sidewalk. We will provide a minimum of 5-foot clear cement concrete walk for pedestrians. And then once we get past kind of the driveway entrance areas, we're proposing to bump the curb out a little over 2 feet in order to provide a 9.5-foot wide sidewalk. The composition of that would be new granite curb, pervious pavers, and that would make up 4.5 feet wide strip with trees as well as new streetlights. And then we'll provide a 5-foot wide cement concrete sidewalk.
Are the catch basins on that side of the sidewalk, or is it on the opposite side?
There's one existing catch basin on our side.
On your side, so that will be adjusted?
Exactly, yep. We're proposing to put in a new catch basin. That catch basin is pretty close to the intersection of Soldiers Field Road.
Deborah, I don't have photographic memory hardly about the condition of the street right now. So by the time you are finished with this wonderful project, get all the utility connections, upgrades to utilities, hopefully, you know, someone's not. How will you leave the street back? Hopefully better than how you found it. And what will you do to help us have a wonderful looking street to serve all your customers? She knows what it is.
Yeah, so currently we have proposed on the plan, so as you can imagine, there's the 2 projects right across from each other. So there will be a lot of utility connections through this area.
It's going to be torn up. You will.
Exactly.
So afterwards.
Crosswalk.
Yep, so we are proposing to cold plan and overlay the area within here.
Can you define where the area is, please?
So currently the area is that which fronts the 21 Soldiers Field Place location. So through. Oh, I was looking at, sorry. This portion here.
It's the microphone behind you.
That was Jimi Hendrix.
Thank you, sorry about that.
I'm sorry, I should have. Okay, serious. Your construction vehicles.
Yes.
Basically, them, your means and methods of construction, your utility connections are basically going to tear up that street, not just in front of where we stand.
Yeah, the whole,
Okay.
all the way back to Soldiers Field Road.
Something like that. I'm trying to gently say that it may be in your best interest to
repave
go that extra little bit of distance.
That's fine.
To make sure that the product is to your satisfaction. So when your sales, this is for market rate units?
Well, market rate and income restricted condominiums.
Yeah, market rate
Sell at
apartments.
least 1 unit, so it will help the salesperson to show a nice street.
Sure. I'd be happy to.
Yep, okay.
Thank you, sir.
Be happy to do that.
Also, Deborah, make sure that telecommunication companies are aware of the fact that you are going to pave this street, because there's this little bit of coordination issue. It will be an utter waste of your resources.
Yes.
If you give a nice street and if some nut comes and cuts it up.
Yep.
That would be very awkward.
Okay. Thank you.
How long is the walk to Boston Landing?
It's about 12 minutes.
About 12 minutes.
And just
It's doable. Maybe not on a day like today, but
just to expand a little bit, I mean, we're improving all along Soldiers Field Place, as Deb suggested, but That's going to connect all the way through on Soldiers Field Road. There's going to be a narrowing of that ramp. That's the proposal. So there's a pedestrian and a bicycle walk that we're constructing all the way up to Leo Birmingham. So that street's just too wide, and then there'll be a little pocket park at the corner. And that, well, yeah, you know where that off ramp comes and you turn. That turn's going to be a little more restricted to slow it down, and there's a little park there. So.
I realize that's DCR, but there's some work which I think BTD has been involved in, just looking at that intersection, the crossing by the bike path on the riverside, just make sure all these things are coordinated.
Yeah, it's all been coordinated with that project, and hopefully we'll tie the bicycle access into Leo Birmingham.
Each of these projects has been given their section of how.
Perfect. So it's all there.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Street lights.
Yes, so.
How do they look? And I hope you are making things better than, slightly better than.
Absolutely, yeah. So you alluded to it with the cable telecommunications conversation. So actually existing basically at the middle of our site on the north side of the road, there's an existing utility pole. We're proposing to ground the electrical and the telecommunications associated with that. In this area, the street lights.
Slow down.
Yeah.
So are there overhead wires along this?
Correct.
So you're undergrounding just one little part or the whole street or all their junk?
We're undergrounding the portion in front of our project.
Tell them that we the city, I for one, is extremely supportive of undergrounding any overhead assets, especially, sir, if you are rebuilding the sidewalks on that side. Once you have the area open, it's minimum cost for them, especially the lateral connections will be to your property, so it's not going to trigger any building codes violations. Okay. So because this whole, we are trying to bring most of those.
Yeah, so the poles are actually situated well for us for that. There's an existing pole right here at the corner of our project. There's this one here, and then it goes across the street. So we're proposing to ground basically.
Reach all of that, right?
Yep. So on those utility poles are currently the streetlights. So we're proposing to install, as we go through here and do our new sidewalk, install the new Acorn streetlights. We're proposing 3 of them to wrap around. We've sent that to Streetlight, and they said they have no objections to that. So we'll coordinate with them to get that design done.
Could you educate me as to the larger picture here? Amy, is there a whole master plan for this area, or?
No, well, so there is a plan for like the Soldiers Field Road to Leo Birmingham connection, and there's probably like 6 active projects that have here that have all been given a slice of that to make the ped bike connection a little bit more normalized through there. So as each one comes on, they get their frontage plus a little, so that hopefully will stitch together an actual.
Okay, so there is a overall master planning effort type.
Yes.
And the city owns Leo Birmingham Parkway?
No.
Who owns it?
DCR.
So Birmingham and Soldiers Field DCR?
Right, so like through like the larger BPDA master planning, they're swallowing up both the city streets and the DCR streets as far as making all of those connections work. But we won't see the Soldiers Field Road or the Birmingham Parkway, but it's all obligated to these projects in the area.
Yeah, obviously my concern is that you're taking an area that is 0 residential and you're putting in, how many units total?
249.
That's between both buildings?
Yes, sir.
So that's a lot of people. And so when they take that bike path to the right turn lane, then what? How do you get across Leo Birmingham? You know, how do you get to the Paul Douglas bike path?
That signal is going to be.
We're upgrading, yeah, as part of the.
Across to that.
Yeah, as part of the mitigation.
That's part of the mitigation
package. We're upgrading those signals at Leo Birmingham and Soldiers Field Road.
So for the most part, each piece should be able to stand alone, I mean, with a little bit of, but eventually it'll all come together.
Who is the lead agency on that? Is that is this DCR's kind of taking lead on this? Is it BTD, City of Boston?
I would say that the BPDA has the bigger master plan of how all of these roads and the ped and bike connections that would actually, and that then as each project gets its section, they have to coordinate with either the city or DCR to realize their piece of it.
I would think, actually, I would rephrase that the BRA is taking the lead on the build-out in the master plan, but the transportation infrastructure is being headed up by BTD and DCR.
But
we're in the roadway business,
right,
they're not.
Yes, yes. For the streets that aren't ours, though, there is a plan and it is part of this.
Thank you.
If I can add a little to that. We can actually bring a graphic of that at the hearing if you
I think
want
that would be
to take a
helpful,
picture
Mr.
of it,
Busa.
right? To
Yeah,
show
no.
how we connect in.
That would be helpful just to know the context of this
Sure.
building in the master plan.
Yep.
The overview makes a lot more sense than.
It's a good plan.
Yeah, because without that context, I just see all these families completely dependent on a car to exit or enter the property for anything they want to do. And it switch out onto Leo Birmingham, which is a road that, why do we even need that road? All right, yeah, we need it. All right, so that would be helpful, thank you.
All right, we'll bring that for 2 weeks if that's okay.
Two questions. Didn't mention it, don't know where the status is. TAPA agreement with the city's transportation department?
Yeah, the TAPA is currently being in process for signatures, so that's all set. It was submitted back in August, and then it's finally out in printed form with the exhibits, and we're.
Construction management plan.
I think the CMP has been in front of you. I would have to
No,
defer.
it has not.
Oh, it hasn't?
It's not,
Okay.
that's not been completed yet.
Okay,
We're working
sorry.
on that now.
Who is doing that?
HSH.
We're doing that.
So that's gonna be important, because
Okay.
before we're
Sure.
issuing any permits, that needs to be finalized.
Sure.
Do we have I see some crosswalks, we have a signage plan that's proposed with this?
So there is a preliminary signage plan in the TAPA document, correct? But there's no final document with the signage plan. Oftentimes, we actually put these in the CMP as a restoration plan, so we'll develop that in coordination with you.
Okay, so as part of the CMP, we're gonna have a site plan
Yeah, we could,
final?
yeah, we could do that.
Again, just a quick question, looks like 2 projects.
Correct.
The other building, when's that slated? What's the coordination between the two?
Simultaneously.
That's gonna be interesting. Taking that- Hopefully, we're not looking for both sidewalks to be closed. So we need to think about that.
We'll work through that in the CMP. I wouldn't think so. There's
Just
a lot,
throwing it out there.
there's a lot of, it's important for us to keep that open because there is a lot of foot traffic there. The adult daycare center folks walk constantly all day long, so we want to sort of keep that loop open.
So that's
for
why
them.
it's important to finalize that CMP,
Right.
because we're us voting on the SOE here. I mean, that's gonna dictate a lot of what is gonna be given away or what you're looking for.
Sure.
So that needs to be worked on.
Okay.
Now.
Yeah, and just a little more clarity to that. The building on the south side does not need SOE. It's slab on grade, and it's also set back from the property line. So we don't anticipate being over the property line for the construction of that, the southern building.
So there's no sidewalk occupation at all.
I can't answer that question. We will address that in the CMP.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, seeing you for the first time, I'm sure you must have done lots of projects in the city. Ms. Denick, if you can assist the petitioner. So when you go to apply for construction permits, we, the city, will be securing various deposits from you to ensure that the work is to be done correctly.
Right.
We, the city, have limited staff to come and inspect this said work which you are doing in the public right of way.
Right.
For you to get your money back, Ms. Denick or someone, they're in the best position, will have to certify that the street has been built to the plans which you designed that was approved. So upon that certification from her team, we, the city, will release the funds.
Correct.
So at least now you will know how your money gets transferred. This requires you to keep her engaged through that process. But however, it is useful for them to play a role because again, the city does not inspect. Let me say it in another way. We don't have enough resources.
Right.
We can do that. We can charge you, but we elect not to. So their team will need to inspect the work to certify that it has been built to the plans that are being approved here.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Amir Todd? Members of the public? All right, 2 weeks enough time?
Yes,
All right, see you guys on
thank you very
31st.
Thank you.
The next item of new business is 88 North Washington Street, Anthony Rip Valenti Way, Boston proper, specific repairs on a petition by Limac Realty LLC.
Good morning, Rick Latini with Howard Stein Hudson. I'm here with Tom McKay, representing the petitioner, Limac LLC. This is being done in conjunction with I think it's a 14-story hotel on this 2,100 square foot site here. It went through a small project review. And what we're doing here is we want to provide a standard 6-foot bump out on the sidewalk to provide a protected parking lane here, which until the hotel's built, like, can be used for whatever. But I think, you know, when we coordinate further, the hotel will probably be a valet or will ask for a valet or drop-off space in that area. Just to let you know, Valenti Way is one way here. When you get to Beverly Street here, there's it goes from 3 lanes to 2 lanes, so we'd be essentially taking one of the lanes away. We'd obviously be reconstructing the pedestrian curb ramps. You know, in coordination with disabilities, they've asked us to actually reconstruct 3 others. You know, they wanted the reciprocal ramp, and they wanted the ramp a little bit further to the north because we were doing sidewalk reconstruction, and then that reciprocal ramp also needed to be reconstructed. And lastly, we were going to look into the feasibility of relocating there's pedestrian signals there. One's actually traffic signal, one's the call button, and we're trying to locate them further into the furnishing zone and closer to the ramps if possible, but we have not sent that design to BTD because we got that request when we went through the coordination letters. We're here a little bit ahead of the hotel project starting because Bill Conroy, I believe it was, from BTD wanted us to start right away one for coordination with the North Washington Street Bridge project. I believe you guys are contemplating a bus lane in this area too, so he kind of just wanted us to come in and get out of the way, so that's why we're here. So, any questions?
Quickly, when you relocate the poles, it's going to be a field adjustment judgment, but make sure that you don't put them in the middle of sidewalks because it is disheartening to find so many that are flat in the middle of sidewalks. And when I trace it as to why did it go there, it was construction field adjustments.
If I put it in the middle of the sidewalk, you can kill me because the reason why I'm moving them is because, no, the one in North Washington Street is smack dab in the middle of the sidewalk.
So
that's why. Yeah,
so it is sometimes we perpetuate these things and we are expecting many pedestrians to look after this gentleman's project. The construction entities are not under our supervision. Okay, the person who is going to move this is not city resources. Okay,
yeah.
So we discover that it's in the wrong location afterwards, and then we want to pull our hair out.
They're in the wrong location today, so absolutely, yeah.
This is an existing wrong location.
Yeah,
No, I know, just don't perpetuate it, because there may be utility conflicts. Okay, because these babies have a bit of a foundation issue.
Okay, understood, yeah.
When would you expect to go in and be done?
It's early spring.
Certainly, for the reasons that Rick mentioned, we both the interest in the dedicated bus lane and the North Washington Street project. This particular location is really, we want to minimize any disruption.
Yeah, so I might actually ask Ed for help to get this with BTD quicker too, because we haven't even sent the signal plans to you yet, so we'll get there. You know, if we need to push it through quick. I'm putting you on the spot, Ed.
I'm all in support of construction. Is that, you know, obviously this is a very busy area. You know, we'll work with you to, you know, facilitate that. But you know, we'll get Don Burgess on board to look at the construction and signalization and stuff like that. But
because it was a small project review, we usually don't do a CMP, but I assume that in this case, in this case, we would do it for the signal work anyhow.
Small project review, large project, everything's required to have a CMP.
I was misinformed by someone in my office. All right, so
that was a nice try, though.
You know better.
I almost got into the record.
Other questions or comments on this? Maybe your time? Members of the public? See you guys on the 21st. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, till then. Our next item is 201 Washington Street, Court Square, Boston proper. A grant of location on a petition by Level 3.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm Shelley Cullen, and I'm here representing Level 3. Level 3 is interested in doing an excavation between 2 existing manholes, about 100 feet on Court Street, and then down Court Square about 200 feet. Excuse me. We did send notice out to any potential participants to see if this was a lead company situation, and it was not. No other companies were interested in going on this dig. We are proposing 1 4-inch along with an additional 4-inch for city shadow. So we notified everybody in the area. We heard back from the MBTA. They didn't have any concerns because their facilities were too far underground. We heard back from Veolia and got an okay from them. We also, street lighting and inspectional services as well. So we should be in good shape.
Couple of quick questions. So some years back, at least 10 years plus, when level 3 did their original massive telecommunication banks, duct banks through Congress Street, through this area, I am a little bit puzzled as to why you need to connect your duct banks today. I'm not talking about your duct banks, your manholes. I thought you all did everything that needs to be done. We had 17 participants on your major level 3 dig down Congress Street. We tore the streets up completely. So that's the first question. Okay, second question, what is the depth of your construction? Meaning this is a one-way street, Mr. Hesford will articulate. If I just stand on the street awkwardly for a moment, how much it sort of messes traffic up, okay? And how long will your construction take place? And Amy, no participants is, I'm highly suspicious. So what we would like to know is within your 2 manholes that you are trying to connect, that's what you are trying to do, right?
Yes.
Right, okay, so who else is living off those 2 manholes?
These are both Verizon manholes. So it's not level 3, and this was just this small, and not that small, 300 feet, to service 201 Washington Street, 1 Boston Place. So they didn't have a connection into this building otherwise.
You can ask Verizon in a couple actions.
Both Verizon and Verizon Wireless are here.
So the problem here is that how do you get from your system, the level 3 system, into the Verizon system?
They must be leasing from Verizon.
They give up permission for their entrance into their manhole.
No,
Right.
I'm saying from the level 3 duct bank system that's on Congress Street, that goes up, and that's the loop. How do you get from that location to that manhole?
By leasing from Verizon.
So was
That's
that
my
promised?
understanding.
And they are in those manholes already, so they've
But
already.
what I'm saying, did we approve that?
Guess we must
Yeah, we should have, but yes. They
That's the
should-
question.
Right.
How, I don't remember, I mean, I sat in all those PIC
Yes.
hearings on that, and I'm trying to figure out how do they get up to that manhole on Court Street.
Yeah. So we're looking for how you entered, when you entered the Verizon system and
Right.
the paperwork associated.
Right, and I'll get all that.
Perfect. And I've just had 3, maybe 4 different contractors out on Court Street doing duct bank and conduit installation. I mean, Light Tower, Crown Castle, I've had them all. So where were you in that whole process?
I'm sure that level 3 was aware of all of that because they get notified just like everybody else.
What I'm saying is
And
that
if this was,
installed 4 different conduits and duct banks up Court Street. This should have been part of that.
but not this connection, this is, I mean, if you look at this.
Talking specifically
They're
Court Street.
probably, they're already here, but in order to get into this building, this is really a lateral. So it's a lateral out of an existing manhole to get over to this building.
And
So
you just had a contract of Mira finishing up on the front face of Washington Street at 1 Boston Place. Maybe you could use that.
I can't imagine they didn't research absolutely everything, but I will go back and confirm what they actually
received the
looked for.
notifications for the digs, correct?
Absolutely. And there's no way they would want to do this dig if they didn't have to. Court Street is a bear. I've been there before.
All year, it's been a,
I know.
Thinking of Court Street and thinking of the location of the manhole at Court Street and Court Square, it looks like what you have there is slightly different than what we have in front of us. Not much, but it's slightly, this is slightly different than what you have there.
This here, what you have?
Yeah, only, you're showing a sharper corner with the...
Build in a different location?
Yeah,
Okay.
the manhole is slightly shaded towards Court Square here.
Okay.
How feasible is it to move the manhole essentially onto Court Square rather than put the manhole on?
That would not be an issue. That wouldn't be a problem. I mean, it really is a matter of where they can find the space, so they'll do test pits
I
and...
think we would want it not on the main thoroughfare.
Okay.
And you can
Yes, no, Chief, you're absolutely, because, very quickly, I think the city is going to lose its, I for one may lose my patience with this disaggregated model of installing telecommunications. Okay, so we may elect to get into the business of installing one duct bank system. Okay, so that way we don't have manhole covers that litters the public right of way. So when your manhole covers settle, I have these quasi potholes. Okay, it's annoying because it's far more costly for us to resurface our streets when I find so many manhole covers up and down streets.
I understand
Very
completely.
annoying. Okay, so we can go with the German Frankfurt model and build the stuff, and you get to use what we put in.
Which is the whole point of the city shadow, correct?
Right, we've been doing it for 20 years, and then we are still digging the same things.
I actually was with Teleport 30 years ago when this first came.
Know the
I know it well. When I heard Court Street, I was like, all right.
So I think there's two things before the 31st. One is you just double check that none of the things that were done on Court Street or to service One Boston Place could be used for the same purpose. And then second, see if we can just shift the manhole onto Court Square instead of Court Street.
I know there's city shadow running up Court Street now, for sure.
Right.
It's just a matter of whether they can get to it to do a lateral into that building.
And it's in the Verizon system.
And it's probably in the Verizon system, and that's probably the closest manhole that they can get to from there.
But they're all interconnected. That's what we need you to find out, is like, that city shadow, and that you can get up to Court Square.
That's probably how they're already getting there.
Yeah, the plan shows manhole 10B is connected to manhole, what is that one, 9A?
Yep.
Right, we're just right here.
Yep.
Goes to 9B.
I can't tell, the whole street's telecom.
Somehow, I think we are making it a little bit easier for these companies to dig up our streets versus being more innovative in how you manage it. So either we jack up
the actual lateral pile.
raise the fees so that fair restitution of our streets.
For it.
I'm going to ask a question. When are we getting that map?
We have a map.
Do we? For all
That
the
shows the
city shadow?
city shadow?
Yes, we have a map that is, yes, it's not complete, but I think that the biggest issue that we have is that we show a lot of city shadow, however, a lot of it is ancient. So like we need to go through a process of at least evaluating how viable our shadow system is. So if we are renting shadow from like the 80s, can you run Brooklyn? So I think that we're trying to map it so that we can then do some exploration into our own system to figure out how viable the pieces are.
Can you send me that link?
Yeah.
Great. So this way, like what Mike's doing, we can have a little computer here, check it out, and have a...
And can you show me manhole 10A and 9B that you were talking about?
Yeah, so the manhole on Court Square, closest to the intersection, right by the hydrant.
Right by your finger.
Orange manhole labeled 10B. It appears that that is connected to manhole 9B in Court Street, which is connected to 9A. Well, I think 9B is the one that goes right.
Yep.
And right, and we're coming down.
Yeah, and then it branches off.
So I guarantee you that we got.
Yeah, so can you come off of 10B? Yeah.
Well, I'm certain that they wouldn't be proposing this big if they could. So chances are Verizon did not have a spare beyond their, their ability to hang on to what they have.
Yep.
Or there's no way we would want to do this.
You just provide documentation to that effect?
Correct, I will.
Other questions or comments?
Yeah, I think you should look at the the city shadow in the area. We have that map and see what we have.
Absolutely. Can you send that to me as well?
Yeah, well, I'll
Or
give you
you'll
the
take a
snapshot
look
of
at
this
that.
area so that I won't
Yeah.
muddy the waters.
I mean, like I said, when I saw Court Street, I was like, there's so much stuff over there. And the research was done, I'm certain of it, so.
We're here to help you.
Thank you.
Your time.
We're good.
Members of the public? City Gates?
Excellent.
First, great. Our next item is 33 Kilmarnock Street, Boylston Street, Boston proper, a grant of location on a petition by Verizon New England Inc.
Oh, speak.
Good morning, Nick Wazen, Verizon.
I'm sorry, sir, your name?
Nick Wazen. We're trying to place 360 feet of conduit along with the city shadow on Boylston Street and Kilmarnock Street to replace collapsed conduit.
Thank you, Bob. I don't like to give up on the first hearing day of the year.
Could be a tough year, this year.
Yeah, we dug up these Kilmarnock streets.
Yep.
So are you, sorry, Chief, a huge dig, microfiber, what are you planning on doing? Because I may be just tempted to have
think it's
our
microtrench.
restoration fees match the trauma you are causing to our streets.
I don't understand what you said.
Sir, we may increase our restoration fees so that our streets are not continuously being compromised by telecommunication companies because you all are not being more proactive in seeing whether you can go partner with someone else. Because you are going to dig up our street. It is not a microfiber you are putting, no.
Is this a micro trench or a traditional trench?
Just traditional.
Yeah, not to exceed 8 inches.
What's not to exceed 8 inches?
The diameter of the conduit.
No, you got one 4-inch Schedule 40 and one 4-inch city shadow with 4 1.2-inch inner ducts. So they're regular traditional excavation.
Nick, the reason for this is because the
Conduit has collapsed.
Collapsed?
Yes.
The existing conduit collapsed?
Yes.
PVC? Is the existing conduit Schedule 40 PVC? How does that collapse?
I'm not
Also,
sure.
what's happening with the existing conduit?
They're replacing it.
So it's coming, the old one's coming out and this is going in?
Yes.
Were there other people in that conduit or was it just Verizon?
There's one person coming along with the lead company as well as the city shadow. I'm not sure who was in there. Right.
So there's a participant?
Yes.
Who's the participant?
I'm not sure.
Okay, we're gonna need to know that.
All right. I can get back to you.
Any idea why the conduit collapsed? Specific, any other digs, any contractor that damaged it?
Not sure. I can get back to you with that information.
Could you have that information for the next hearing? Because do you know, what's the material of the existing conduit?
I can get back to you with that.
Okay. Is it a point at which it is collapsed? Is it collapsed over the entire run? I find that to be unlikely.
We'll get back to you with the information.
Yeah, could you bring a whole nother level of detail to the next hearing?
Yep.
And maybe if you could cross-check, I may be wrong, just cross-check 33 Kilmarnock on our project files to see who was right next to it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we can probably hit on the source of collapse if we dig into.
No, like who was the,
Yeah.
because something tells me there was a project that had the title 33 Kilmarnock.
We have just done a lot on Kilmarnock. There's a lot of.
Yeah, there's
new stuff down there.
someone did something here.
I do think, to Mike's question, you're doing a long dig to fix something which is probably a spot collapse of the conduit. So
Right.
just, I think, for us to understand, why do this entire project if it's really just about fixing potentially a very short stretch?
Right.
No, I don't.
Other questions or comments? In your time. Members of the public? All right. See you in 2 weeks. Thanks, Nick. Our next item is Mystic Avenue, Main Street, Alfred Street, Charlestown, widening and relocation, grant of location on a set of petitions by Eversource Energy and the City of Boston Office of the Chief of Streets, Transportation, and Sanitation.
Amy, how are we planning to a joint petition?
So the.
Makes sense to you?
Yep, yes, adjacent to Mystic Ave, there is a small triangular city-owned parcel. And that this line is going.
Okay, so because as a landlord.
This line is gonna go through our street and then through that parcel, so we're just putting that parcel in the right of way.
Good morning. My name is Rob Collins. I'm the Eversource project manager for this project. And with me, I have Mike Sutton from VHB, who is our traffic control consultant, and Sean Shortell from Watkins Strategies, who provides community outreach for us. This particular project, the Eversource project as a whole, is installation of a 115,000 volt underground transmission line from the Woburn substation to the Mystic River substation. In Boston, we'll be going underneath the MBTA railroad tracks at Sullivan Square area, down through, heading east through the parking lots that are controlled by Boston Transportation Department. And it's currently the parking lot, but Boston Transportation came to us last January and asked us to revise the alignment to match their reconfiguration that they're doing. And so we'll be running down through the sidewalks, through the parking lot in what will become Martha Way, and then heading north up Alfred to approximately Arlington, where we cross over into Ryan Playground and continue on and tie into an existing manhole at that location. So the line itself is approximately 4 feet down to 12 feet down, depending on where you are along the alignment. Throughout the summer, we've been working with both Boston Transportation Department, their design firm, Tetra Tech, to make sure that we match up with all the utilities in the area, their alignment and what have you, as well as with Boston Water Sewer.
It's sort of beyond this, but this is obviously part of a very large project. Can you just describe for us what is necessitating
What's necessitating this is, and I don't remember exactly when, it was before my time with Eversource, but a few years ago, ISO did a study and determined that the greater Boston area is in need of some infrastructure increases for reliability purposes. And this is one of a number of projects that Eversource is doing to enhance the reliability of the grid in the area.
Tiny. Sir, are you the engineers on this?
No, he's not.
No. Okay. If you could, Charlestown is a subdivision of Boston. It is not recognized. So when you are showing boundaries, erase Charlestown and write the word Boston.
Okay.
We took over Charlestown a few days ago.
So again, I know that you've had conversations with us, specifically with our parking lots that, basically are going to be reparcelized. But obviously, there's numerous players that are involved. I know you've talked to the casino relative to the improvements that they're doing. You still need to have a few meetings to basically iron out some of the coordination with that.
Yes.
I don't think we're quite there as of yet, so that's something that we're going to need to button up.
So in discussions with BTD, because of the work that the casino is doing in the area, and they need to be out of the area, I think it's in June to open up. We've agreed that we will not start work in the area until July 1st, assuming that the GOL is approved, so that we will coordinating from that standpoint that we won't be doing work at the same time that the casino is doing work.
Well, I'd like to see you be able to do work at the same time if it's coordinated, because obviously when that casino opens, there's going to be traffic concerns, and I want to have that mitigated prior. So anything that we can get on the front end and coordinate between the contracts, we want to do. So, waiting is not really an option.
And we really need your engagement, sir, on what Commissioner Hesford said. Because right now, the bridge is under construction. Right. There's a bit of a challenging drive through there. Yeah. So the incremental headaches may not be noticed versus when all the dust settles by June of this year, and then you come into the area, then that's not going to look good for any of us. So that's first thought. Second, the work underneath the railroad tracks. Do you have permission from Amtrak to do that right now?
So right now, we have a package with the MBTA to review, or the MBTA is reviewing a package to provide us authorization to go under those tracks. We do not yet have the permission.
So sometimes it is a case where it takes a long time because MBTA needs to send these plans, you know the grid, right? It needs to go down to Philly, and it could take a few months. So my concern is if you don't have all those permits and this right-of-way clearances to do that construction while the train, you know the drill, I mean, I don't want to waste everyone's time. I have a concern about you being in a position to get this thing done before June. So when you come to the public hearing, please help us to understand the rough timeline through which you will get permissions from the MBTA.
Okay.
From the railroad people, because MBTA, that's who we reach out to. MBTA needs to talk to Amtrak. Amtrak needs to go to headquarters. Then it's a bit of a lengthy process, you know. I think you all know that.
Yes.
Okay.
What's the public process that you've had on this with the community?
I'm sorry?
What's the public process up to now that you've had with the community on your work?
On the work? We've installed about 8,000 feet of conduit on Mystic Ave in MassDOT area in Medford and
I'm
Somerville.
talking about in the Sullivan Square, what neighborhood meetings, who's done what, who's coordinated with whom?
So we can connect you with our Office of Neighborhood
Yeah,
Services.
our outreach folks, I'll have to find out the answer to
I would
that.
suggest you get a hold of Mr. Hoey.
Yes.
later
Yes,
on and,
he unfortunately could not attend today. He had to attend a different meeting. He let me know at the last minute this morning that he was not able to attend this morning.
I think the Red Sox spring training tickets went on sale today, man.
There's a gentleman behind you who used to serve as the ONS liaison who would probably be a good person to connect with as well. So.
Because the scenario which I'm getting a little bit anxious is you don't have your permits. I mean, this is a large project.
Yes.
We can't say, hi, don't do it, because then that kind of makes us all look idiotic. But the traveling public who is going to come over past the casino, over the Alfred Street Bridge, boom. Okay? Since you're not going to be tunneling underneath the roadway, you will be open cutting and trenching, right?
Yes.
Right. So, sorry.
No.
Headaches.
They know.
They know.
I do know that we've reached out to a number of abutters in the area in writing as part of the EFSB process, and we received no negative responses
But
back.
I think that we really need to have a public forum to open that up for the elected and the community, just to let them know what's going on. Right?
We don't want to labor the point. John Hoey.
Yes.
Okay, so you all have a variety of projects that are, when I say you, Eversource, including the work that is being done to support the Wind Casino. So there's a advocacy group, including business owners, that meet at the invitation of the Everett Chamber of Commerce. I know you have staff, when I say you, Eversource have staff that goes to those meetings. It is in your absolute best interest to have that person give them a briefing about this project, because all the commercial vehicles, they are going to be impacted in addition to the people who are living in the area.
Okay.
Other questions or comments on this? Any or Todd? Members of the public? All right. So I think between now and the 31st, if you can just put together that sort of communications engagement plan, that'd be great.
Thank
See
you.
you then.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item is Fullerton Street, Western Ave, Com Ave, Tremont Street, Southampton Street, Melanie Castle, Boston proper, Brighton, Dorchester, Roxbury, grants of location on a set of petitions by Selco Partnerships doing business as Verizon Wireless.
Good morning, Commissioners. Michael Jaimo, representing Selco, and with John McGillicuddy, who's working on these projects on the construction side. This is 7 separate conduit runs in connection with projects to replace streetlights with wireless attachment streetlights pursuant to our agreement with the City of Boston. The conduit installs are for power and for fiber, with shadow conduit provided for the city on the PVC conduits, and with the microfiber, there's also accommodation for the city's strand in that. There are 7 locations. I mean, I can go through them one by one, or I can, if you have questions about particular ones, yeah.
So at the highest level, you're basically flipping city-owned street lights to your asset?
No, those would still be city-owned poles. They're being replaced with a pole that has an antenna attachment to it. So Verizon Wireless will pay for these new light poles. They'll install them, but they will still be city assets.
Right. You are installing the new one?
Yes.
Okay. And then you have to run conduits from the base of that pole to your system. That system, are you putting the micro trenching, or are you doing the full digging?
And most of these, it is the full digging. It's a conduit install.
Walk us through the ones which you are doing the full digging?
Yes.
And then you need to sort of share with us as to why you are not going with the micro trenches.
That's where John comes in. Okay, and I don't know, we can try to do them, I guess, in the order that they're
Can we start off with Melania Cass Boulevard, because that street's going to be under reconstruction, and I'm not sure whether the team even knows that you are planning to put assets down that street, and the location of your asset with it's going to compete with the movement of curb lines. So I mean, it's something which you folks need to understand, that we do have projects which curb lines are going to move, and
yes, so the Melania Cass project involves 663 feet of the PVC conduit for power and for fiber.
So you're going to dig the street up?
That would be digging the street up, yeah.
And then so your engineers have figured out, oh, maybe I'll put it over here.
Correct,
you need to now coordinate, Amy, I'm not sure how they're going to do that. Patoy, okay? Because the location may be right underneath the row of trees which I may be planting. Okay?
Yep.
So that level of coordination needs to happen, but can you still tell me why you can't do the micro trenching?
So we can only use micro trenching for the fiber, and in this case, our electric run is just as long as our fiber run. So we'd be running an electric conduit anyways. So it wouldn't.
Why can't you pull electric power from another source? You said electric power, right?
Correct,
Juice.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So Eversource is in the business of providing juice. Why don't you tap it off from one of their sources close by?
This is the closest manhole they're giving us. So.
What am I missing here? I mean, like everyone is working to their convenience and not to the city's.
Yes, and as with every antenna, they're all going nowhere. So.
Are we reconstructing Kerr Way right now?
Yes. I just finished building the Madison Park streets.
Right.
Oh, your deposits are going to be quite hefty.
So we should have it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, we are running something from the south side to the north side, all the way down Melania Cass, and then back to a road that we just reconstructed on Kerr Way, or at Kerr Way and Melania Cass. I just wonder if we should have a quick conversation, both about why we are making that big arc, and also can we tap off of anything? Can we use anything that's on?
I can go back and check with Eversource to see is there anything closer, but
just given the work we just did there, there might be.
Absolutely, yeah. Yep. So.
And or do we want more capacity here so that we don't duplicate this arc with Crown Cass?
Right. What is this cross street? Is that Tremont Street? It's not labeled. Sheet one of the run.
Coming from here.
Might be Shauna.
Do you have that street?
It's not labeled. Also, Steve Shea signed this in April of 2017. Where have we been?
So you know it's good.
Yeah.
The next guy.
Yeah, I'll have to check that.
So we believe that to be Tremont to Kerr, right?
Shaman.
It is Shaman?
I think it's Shaman. Yeah. If this is I mean, I think it's the next road down, next
Okay.
through road down on there. And what is the, why do we need to go from the south side to the north side and then back to the south side?
Across the street twice.
Yeah.
I just have to verify with Eversource why we were given this manhole, so.
Got it.
Yeah, yeah. That's the only reason we draw there, you know. 'cause-
I realize it's not in your interest to go twice as,
Yeah,
across the street
totally, yeah.
twice.
Yep, we go the shortest run every time, so, yep.
This could be in conflict with some type of green infrastructure planned as part of this.
Or the Melania Cass curb line.
I think part of that is a highly likely problem.
Because every year we ask the same kind of questions.
So on Melnia, I didn't realize there's 7 of these in total. On Melnia, we should just have that, whether it's Zach and Pat, sort of.
Yeah, Pat will have all of the, like, where we're at with the curb line.
Just to make sure.
I'm pretty sure that it comes out, and so if they're hugging the curb line, I would not hug it so closely.
So if you can be ever so kind to share with us knowledge which you have about the Commonwealth Avenue, where it is, because I'm trying to find a cross street and Chestnut Hill. So we
Okay,
are
you want
in
Commonwealth
Brighton, Alston, Brighton somewhere. Hopefully. Chestnut Hill has, yes. And it looks like it's a micro-fence. I just want to make sure it is micro-fence all the way to there.
You're talking about Commonwealth at Chestnut Hill?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So again, it seems like we are doing majority of it micro-fence. There has to be a better way for us to do this out there, this corridor.
Well, so these were all laterals that were kicked up because they were too long.
They need to understand the concept of your lateral policy, which they
They don't
do.
want to be here anymore. And
My bad, my bad. Okay, quickly. So the intersection of Chestnut Hill and Commonwealth Avenue.
That's right.
Okay? I'm going to sort of assume that the little red series. So you're doing more than micro trenching within that area. Yes?
Yes.
Right. So I think we have invested and we paid those trades. I'd like to get at least a little, more than a couple of months.
Yep.
On these investments which we make. And we support your industry, but your industry is messing up the assets that belong to the chief. Okay?
Yep.
And right now we have a payment policy where one size fits all, whether it is 100 years old street or something that is 2 days old. So things may change, things need to change, because right now it seems to be at your, I shouldn't say at your convenience.
Yep.
Things seem to be stacked against us. So we may say
What is the length of that run on ComAv?
It's 2 sheets. This one's Commonwealth.
More than a
Yes, it's 1,015 on the
1,000
fiber.
feet for fiber. There's nothing over there.
That's the micro.
After the
That's the
marathon?
micro.
Yep.
Post-marathon.
So,
Post-marathon build?
Yeah.
Okay.
so Verizon has no spare ducts in this area. You guys do not have anything.
On
Commonwealth.
Commonwealth Ave, on that side of Commonwealth, there was
Oh,
nothing.
no, don't say on that side of Commonwealth Ave. On
Well,
Commonwealth
we can't
Ave,
cross the tracks.
Tracks.
Yeah,
I have interconnect cables and everything that goes underneath.
It takes time and effort.
And
It just, thank you.
We do it all the time with our traffic signals.
yeah, I'll go back to VZT, and they're deciding we can resurvey it again and see if there's something closer, so.
Because it tends to be cost. It's
Yep.
a little bit more costlier. It takes more time to go underneath the T-tracks.
When we were out there, if it wasn't a costing, we'd just go to the closest manhole, whether it's like, if we can cross the tracks, that's fine. I'll go back to them and find out how we can do that, so. Yep.
Who is your consultant who do this work? I know you farm this work out to consultants. The
Yeah.
work is not done in-house, that much I know. Do you know where they are from? Meaning, are they out of state or are they local?
No, they're all, so I'm Structure Consulting Group for Verizon Wireless. Like, we're the construction.
bad.
No, sorry, but we're the construction management firm for this, so all vendors that we use are vendors of Verizon Wireless Direct. So like we use all approved, obviously, city contractors. And then when we use VZT, they do the manhole breaks. They're out there with us. We don't use anyone.
The people who do the brain power, so there's construction work.
You see.
Like who is the part who does the design work?
Yeah, but we go out with Verizon landline and do telco surveys, and they go survey the area and see what manhole we can pull out of. So it's like UC Synergetic, just take the information they're given and put it on the drawing really of what manhole we're coming from both Eversource and landline.
So can we just understand, you want us to check on both the micro trench and the power, or just the power to cross?
The shortest trenches and the most micro trenching is what we're looking for. The least linear feet and the most amount of micro trenching.
Right, but I guess my question is, all the fiber is all micro trenching, so are you asking us to relook at that? No. Okay, fine. So just the power, it's the power piece of it.
To the chair, there's actually a crew on the corner that was working up there yesterday, as well as some road shims there too, and they were actively working yesterday. That will assist you, either if they're doing something right now.
Yep.
all.
I think what you gotta do is you get with Eversource, look at what secondary manholes they have closer to that area.
Yep.
I mean, I can't believe that they're all primary, so it's a secondary connection. Second thing is, your system, meaning Verizon, on the opposite side, if that's available, we're looking for you to do that.
Fine, we'll go back and take a look.
Yep.
Well, yeah, that's what I was asking. So that's the fiber connection you're talking about there?
That's correct.
Okay, so even though it's micro-trenched?
Well, even if it's micro-trenched, why would we be in your system and get to that point?
Because when I have to rebuild the street, which we will be, I have to deal with all your, even the micro-trenching, sir. We were looking at micro-trenching, not to be within our streets, because even if I have to resurface a thing, I'll gladly take your thing out, but then I feel guilty for doing that. No, seriously, okay? I have a conscience.
No, I get it. I just wanted to make sure we know what our takeaways are here. Thank you.
All 7 of these cases, and I should know where it lies in the overall approval process, but you've been approved for the streetlight you're going to?
Yeah, we will. In some of them, we've gone to landmarks as well for those streetlights. Yeah.
Great. So we're not
some of these cases.
to a place that you don't have.
No, street lighting is our first approval of all this. So.
Okay.
They couldn't pull a permit.
To do that, perfect. Yes. Okay. Got it.
Do we know what the light's going to look like? Amy, do we know what the light's going to look like, their contraption?
Yes, it's from Verizon Schedule X. So whatever it is,
Remember,
whatever type of light they're replacing, we have a standard that they are obligated to do that.
With a huge stomach, huge base or fridge up in the air, which one is it now?
It's actually neighborhood dependent. So it's based on what type of light you have, what neighborhood you're in, and what we've decided is the right answer for that. But for the most part, we're looking for side-mounted cabinets and not those crazy big bases.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments on this one? John?
Two questions. One is, seems like it is substantial here. Is there any participants?
There were not on any of these, John. You can get any comments back on
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Another question is in addition to the fiber, you pull the fiber through the conduit, and also you're going to install the electrical conduit. Is the electrical conduit, the manhole is different from the fiber to conduit, correct? Yeah.
In some of these, for sure, yeah.
So is it more manholes here?
Different manholes. Okay. You can never keep the surfaces straight.
Which one?
Stair fiber power pointing in the same direction. Usually they're often opposite.
The Frankfurt, Germany model.
You told her.
That's the answer.
Any other questions or comments?
Do you want us to walk through? So should we do Fullerton next? So Fullerton Street is, these run together for the most part. It's the same thing. It's 416 feet of of PVC conduit for, and then a power PVC conduit with the shadow duct for the fiber. And it's running from the nearest demarc point we could get on Brookline Ave. And this is behind the Landmark Center, so this is that stretch of road right behind the Landmark Center.
So has this been coordinated with the Landmark Development Project?
This is
final streetscape design?
I don't know, John.
No.
That has not been-
I'm not
yeah.
sure how they will know about that. See, this is a concern I have because they are going to assume that the curb lines are what we give from the records section.
Well, and also all of these large projects, why are they putting in brand new streetlights so that these guys can come 10 minutes later and replace it with an antenna light where they could have just gone in the ground with their antenna as a matter of the street lighting installation. But we're gonna go through this, put in our acorn so that these guys can come out and take out our acorn. And it's brand new, like the light they'll take out is new.
We should think about a specific repair notification, which essentially would say.
Yeah.
This is another one we went through Landmark's commission on. Well, just because of the historic nature of this building. Yeah. So
So this is all, I mean, there's a whole master plan for the streetscape design in Fullerton, Brookline Avenue, if you're looking at anything there. I mean, that needs to be coordinated with that design.
Yeah, this is, right, okay, and we will do that. This is crossing Brookline and then running along the north side, it looks like.
It's the first time we are seeing these wonderful people here, like Selco, or have we seen them? Or more to the point, will we see more of you?
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, like, we see them all the time for laterals, and these are the ones that have gone beyond laterals. And so this is very common, but like, there's no saying that we're not gonna see this same thing. We could see this again 2 months from now when AT&T decides that they want the antenna next to the Verizon antenna.
No, but at least with these folks, Selco, doing business as Verizon Wireless, they have a larger program in the city, and you will come to us with bits and pieces. So hopefully you are getting a sense of what our concerns are.
Correct, yeah.
So you can inform US Synergy.
Yep.
UC Synergy. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm massacring a very nice name. So just impress upon them to understand what our concerns are.
Absolutely.
So that way it minimizes the questions which we have for you.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we have two on Western Avenue. So Western Avenue at Telford, should we look at that one? That's 319 feet of a microduct run. And John, do we have any power? Is there power here too? A short power run. 68 feet.
70 feet, yep.
So what's that? Are we running into another project here? Is that what you're saying?
No, you're actually in advance of that, so in this instance, it's good. But DCR will be redoing the Ped Bridge at the end of Telford. And the skating club will eventually be the site of a new project. The project on the opposite side of Telford is brand new.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't look like we're doing anything actually on Telford itself with this one.
All right, well then, if you're on Western, then.
On Western.
Yeah, it's, Harvard's gone down Western Avenue, so it's where you are within their plans.
We're not going past First Street, I believe.
Okay.
John, are all these activities still sanctioned under the prior Federal Telecommunications Act or the wireless work? So can you look into that thing? Because I know there may have been some concerns about automatic need for us to give them grant of locations when it was the Telecommunications Act related.
This is a little bit too different.
Okay, because at this rate, I'm not sure whether we are duty bound to provide this grant of locations, and whether there can be any fee structure to provide this space, because by allowing them to be in this space, it deteriorates our streets, it impacts our streets, and it impacts our space.
Yeah.
Okay?
I certainly will.
So can you look to see whether their new whole wireless world is still under the,
absolutely,
providing dial tone to Iowa, and how that all filters down to this stuff.
we covered the two on Western. I think only we talked about Southampton, or
yeah, right, so Southampton at Boston Street, and this is 869 feet of a
So that's off Millennium Gas, right? You did that.
condo run. Yeah.
Our high-rent district with a lot of troubled people.
Yeah, this is the one that goes
Yeah.
past the overpass.
South
Yeah.
Main Wall.
Yep.
That's also full digging.
Correct, yeah.
More disruption to a area where the road capacity is inadequate to manage it. It's one of our very high accident locations, so on and so forth. So these are the collateral concerns which we have in you playing in the area. As much as you deteriorate our asset, it's as much as you deteriorate our road asset, the impacts to the motoring public while you're doing construction.
Yeah,
So-
most of this is actually on the, beyond the sidewalk, it's on the grass, strip. It's outside the traveled way for the most part, maybe entirely. Not all of it, okay. Right down here, right, yeah.
You're coming across the intersection.
Right, so once we run it from the starting point over here, it's all under the grass strip.
It's right by South Bay Mall, like come around that
is that essentially what this node serves? That sort of patrons of the South Bay Mall?
Like, why are you doing
Yeah,
this?
There's nothing there.
Right, so this is, it's really for
the
the.
closest was on, I think, Boston Street, so it was
On
like
the far
just,
side.
yeah.
Put in the shadow and make money.
Well, I mean, it seems like an extra shadow here, because why would anybody want to dig here again? It sounds terrible from everybody's perspective.
What are all the new roads that are in that area that are being laid out and constructed as we speak now?
In South Bay.
South
This is
Bay.
on the other side.
Over by Boston Street.
Yeah, we're just saying.
This is
we're
right
saying
next to
one,
Target.
so-
Yeah.
That's the area.
Yeah, it's right, and it's right before the,
Just so you know,
the
there's a bunch of
on-ramp.
new
the off-ramp.
roadways in that whole area,
Yeah.
all new
we
housing,
should be
new
in the-
stores,
Yeah.
new hotels. So if you're planning on anything, I would suggest that you get on it now.
Capacity. And then Tremont and St. Alphonsus?
Yeah, that is, that's a much shorter run, but it goes through an intersection, so we were referred in here for that reason.
You guys got the best spots. But construction season,
Auction our street light poles next time. Locations.
yeah. We'll finish it down the city for a little while, we'll let them put up all the
We must have
fences,
pulled-
and
must
we'll
have
all come
grabbed
back a couple weeks later.
Like I still remember the Mass Ave, Comab location. That is the primary. Just gave it away.
How long did we spend to move one light 3 times?
We just had it, so. I don't know, you must have it. I've got a small copy if you want. Sorry, we're just getting our plans together. Yeah, Josh, okay, so, yeah, so it's just, it's, as we said, it's through that intersection.
I'm sorry, say that again?
It's really in here because it's an intersection.
Mission Hill intersection. Yeah.
And, you know, again, we're trying to get the closest connections, least disruption, but that's a site that's right at an intersection.
I think it's we have the right time to do that for the construction. Right. Because that's a critical way to circle
Absolutely.
Jackson Square, et cetera, Roxbury Crescent. Other questions or comments on this? Amy or Todd? No, members of the public? All right, so there's some things to check between now and the 31st, but does the 31st work for the two of you?
Yes, that'll be fine, and we get some comments from Todd earlier that we'll respond to or provide the information.
We'll grab them on there and Tom have ones. This seems to be an opportunity. Yep, thank you so much. Thanks.
Hey, thank you very much.
Our final item of new business is Marginal Road, Broadway, Boston proper, discontinuances on a set of petitions by the Boston Planning and Development.
Amy, housekeeping or?
Yeah, we are cleaning up the parcels for the Josiah Quincy School. Or for municipal purposes, sorry.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Janet Carlson. I'm with the Boston Redevelopment Authority, doing business as the Boston Planning Development Agency, the BPDA. I have Valerie Toomey with BPDA and also Jeff Campbell with Niche Engineering. And we're here to discontinue 2 paper streets that in order to consolidate parcel R3A2 in the South Cove Urban Renewal area. The underlying fee of these parcels is currently owned by the city. On the BPDA agenda this afternoon is an order taking that would give the BRA the ownership. So the first parcel here is the remaining portion of Broadway. This part of Broadway was already discontinued in 1976, and there's nothing in this, no utilities or anything in that one. That's the first discontinuance. The second one is for a portion of Marginal Road that was laid out by the Massachusetts Turnpike Authority when they were laying out the turnpike. When they laid this out and on behalf of the city, they also gave an easement to what was the Metropolitan Transit Authority for the overhead, their overhead that isn't there anymore. That's number one thing. And number 2, there is a Boston Water and Sewer, 24-inch sewer line and a manhole right here. I have negotiated an easement with the attorney at Boston Water and Sewer. It isn't signed yet because we don't own the property yet. I am working with the T to get a release of this easement, and therefore I'm asking for 4 weeks before I come back because we need to get ownership, we need to execute an easement, and get a release of that.
Ms. Carlson, is there a reason, if I wasn't listening or it just skipped me, is there a reason why you're breaking the 2 properties even though they are right next to
They're in
each
2 different streets, one's Broadway, one's Marginal Road.
Also,
Right.
it is the way it is addressed.
Right, so-
Even though
Right, I mean, one is like,
we just couldn't take the whole
remember
thing.
a time when Broadway came all
Right.
the way through here, a long, long time ago. This is a remnant piece of that. Marginal Road was then widened, but the way that it was actually laid out is.
And just so you know, my taking is the triangle. I'm taking
Right,
the
you
entire-
will do that as, and then we
Yeah,
will
it's
play
5,000
housekeeping.
Right, it's 5,114 square feet, so
Gotcha.
it would be appropriate notice to the city.
Thank you.
Can we get the little triangle in 2 weeks so that it'll catch up with this in floats? The little piece of whitening?
Yeah, but why do we could, but why do we?
So that that this will be completely clean. Like you have a piece that's of the right of way that's on private property.
We have the plan already. We
Oh,
just-
okay, so you want to come back in 2
No,
weeks?
no, no, Pine Street.
Pine Street, yep.
Oh, no, I'm not ready for that one yet. I'm still doing the research because.
4 weeks.
Right, 4 weeks. And Pines, this piece will be coming back later.
Yeah, no, we just have a separate team of action elsewhere.
Right here.
Yeah.
We'll be fixing that. I just have to finish doing my research.
Just really out of historic curiosity, so West Broadway would have continued all the way to Washington Street? Was Washington the end of the, is that where Broadway originated or terminated?
That's why the firehouse there has Broadway hanging off all the back of the trucks.
That's good history. All right, other questions or comments on this? Amy or Todd? Members of the public? All right, see you in 4 weeks on the 14th of February?
Thank you.
Great. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.